We are from Highland Community Middle School, and we are doing a project that involves interviewing old-time residents of Highland to find out what life was like back in the day. Today's date is Thursday, September 20th, 2012. Today we are interviewing Tom Riley at Highland School, Wisconsin. The interviewers are me, TJ Cool,
Drew Hennessy,
Riley McGuire,
Kayla Miller,
Max Miller.
We appreciate you allowing us to interview you. Thank you. Okay, now we can start the questions.
what is your full name?
My full name, Thomas Kerwin Riley, Jr.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Dodgeville on August 17th, 1943.
How did your family come to live in Highland?
My dad was from Milwaukee, and my mom was from out on Farmers Ridge, which is out north of Highland. And my dad had relation out here, the Egans, and they lived right over where Teddy Yeager, or where Jerry Yeager lives now. And they met that way. Actually, my dad and his brother, my Uncle Jack, married two sisters, my Aunt Adela and my mom. So two brothers married two sisters, so then I ended up with double cousins.
What were your parents' names?
My dad's name was Thomas Kerwin Riley the second, and my mother's name was Bernice Eloise Lampke.
where did you live?
Where do I live? At 315 Spring Street in Highland, Wisconsin.
Where did you live?
Where did I live?
Yeah.
I've lived there all my life.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mother was a homemaker, and then she worked at Badger Ordnance up in Baraboo for I don't know how many years, but a few years. And my dad was a steam fitter at Badger Ordnance, and then he was a painter and a steeplejack. Where steeplejack is where they would climb the steeples of the churches around the area and redo all the joints in the brick and waterproof them and paint them.
What kind of meals did you eat as a kid?
Meal?
Yes.
Potatoes and gravy and meats and vegetables, just like now.
As a kid, did you have any chores?
Did I have chores? I guess we mowed the grass, shoveled snow. Not much else, though, I don't think.
Did you get an allowance?
I never got an allowance as a set aside allowance, but they give me money whenever I ask.
what did you do for fun while growing up?
We ice skated, we played ball, played basketball, baseball, and everything through the seasons with the neighbor kids. Just like, well, we never had the Wii games or the whatever them are. We went outside and played.
What games did you play?
What games?
Yeah.
Basketball and ice skating. We played hockey, baseball, football.
Did you make your own ice rink?
No, there was actually an ice rink at St. Anthony's School. They used to flood it right behind where Dick Minch lives now. There was actually two ice rinks there with a warming house where the church is now. That's what it is.
Which one was your favorite sport to play?
My favorite sport? Probably basketball.
What position did you play?
Forward or center.
Did you guys have like state and stuff?
Did they? Yeah, they did then. We never made it to state, but back then it was just, how was it? Now they got the divisions. That was just, trying to think, state tournament. They just had 8 teams made it to state tournament, whether you had a, enrollment of 800 or 1,000 or 80 or 100. It was all the same team. There was no A, B, or C or anything. I think that's what it went to, and then now divisions, but there's not no more, or it wasn't then.
Did you spend time at the park as a kid?
Yes, I did, yep. I was, when Margaret McGuire was the first Alice in Dairyland, I was about 6 then. And out at the park where the cook shack is now, there was a gazebo there then, before the Lions Club built the cook shack. And I remember her, they had a kind of a homecoming celebration for her then.
What toys did you have?
Well, we had Tinker Toys, and we had blocks that was just made out of, anybody know what Tinker Toys are?
Do you guys know what Tinker
Yeah,
Toys
okay.
are?
They still have them?
Drew, do you know what Tinker Toys are?
Tinker Toys?
Tigger toys?
Yes. Do you know what they are?
They were,
Isn't it off like a show or something?
No, they're like wood sticks, and then you like build
yeah,
stuff
they had
out
little
of them.
round things you could stick them in. Yeah, we had that, and the Lincoln Logs, and I'm trying to think what else. We had just regular, different sized hunks of wood that we used to build with too.
Did you get gifts at Christmas?
Yeah, we got, well, I remember cap guns and the clothes you always got, and not much different now, or then than it is now, but we don't have the video stuff now, or then we do now.
Did you ever travel to Madison as a kid?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we used to travel to Milwaukee with my dad. That's where his relation were, or relatives were. And we used to, I remember as a kid, and actually my dad's dad, who would have been Thomas Kerwin Riley the first, I remember going to his wake in Milwaukee. Yeah. And then we used to go to the Braves games. That was before the Brewers, before they moved to Atlanta. We used to go to them. Yeah.
Did you see Hank Aaron play?
Yes, I did. Yeah, and there was Joe Adcock played then. I actually got a baseball from him. He played first base for the Braves, and we'd go up in the summer. We had the Little League summer baseball thing, and then our coach, who was Butch McCune, he would drive us up there once a year to the game, and I got a baseball from Joe Adcock and Art Lynchide. I don't know if you know him, and you know Zeke, can be his brother. He got a baseball from Hank Aaron. So yeah.
Did you ever have something signed by anybody?
Oh yeah, but I don't have him anymore. There was I think Joey J. He was a relief pitcher for the Braves. I got Wes Covington. He was a left fielder. But I don't have them anymore. I do have the baseball that Joe Adcock hit. I still have that. Yeah. I actually have a little it's a Hillerick and Bradsley. We used to buy them at when we went to the games at it was County Stadium then, before Miller Park. And it's a little Hank Aaron bat that I've had since 1953 or 4. I still have that. And a Braves bobblehead that I got from the 50s. I still have that. It's got a little break out of the side, but I still have that.
Did you ever go on vacations with your family?
Yeah, I guess I don't really remember. Most of the time, the vacation that I had is in the summertime. I would go to Milwaukee and stay 2 weeks with my dad's uncle, or dad's brother, Jack, Uncle Jack, and then I stayed with them for a couple of weeks, but that was basically my vacations, and then we played ball in the.
Did you ever go to Lake Michigan when you were in Milwaukee?
No, we never went there. No,
Was there like water parks back then?
no water park, just swimming. We used to swim in the creek behind our house. That was our water park. We used to walk down there. Yeah.
How did your family get news of what was going in the town country world?
How did they get
News.
the news? You
Yeah.
say? Well, the radio. We had radios then and the TVs, but. What you mean, like if in the wintertime? You mean, or?
Yeah.
Well, actually, if they didn't come in, I don't really know. If we didn't have school, it was meant the roads were plugged, I guess. Yeah, we used to get days off like you do now, you know, and too much snow, but wasn't that bad last year. So.
Did you have any favorite shows on the radio?
I used to, yeah, I do. There used to be, there was one called Straight Arrow. That was one. And the Green Hornet was on. And Bobby Benson and the B-Bar B. I remember that. That was, yeah. But mostly them three, yeah.
You remember the worst snowstorm you've been in?
Yeah, that was been like in 58 or 59. Up by, well, where Zeke lives now, along there, and where Terry Bumpkamp lives, there was a D8 cat was stuck in there. That was level full of snow. And I used to hang around with Eldon Nesser, who is the janitor here then. He was my best friend back then. But they used to have telephone lines there, and the snow was so thick, or so solid, packed in there so solid, we could play football up on top, and we could reach up and touch the telephone lines. They weren't electric lines, and just telephone. That's how high the snow was there. Yeah, it took them a good week and a half to get that plugged out, or plowed out.
A lot of snow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we used to. And it was so, you could run right on top of it. It was as hard as this, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have TV as a kid, what did you do for entertainment?
We had TV.
You're not that old, right?
No, not that old, no. We did have TV. I remember our first TV was a Muntz. Spelled just like Jim Muntz and them, you know, and Ryan Muntz and them. It was a Muntz TV, but they were the old tube kind then, you know, so. Yeah, but then, well, we played cards too, and I don't know.
We heard you have a story that your sisters tell about you and a bowl of sugar. Can you tell us this story?
No, yeah, see, that was, my wife told that to Julie, didn't she? See, that was, I don't remember doing it, but my sisters tell me that it was like in the, I don't know if it was the Depression or the war, but it was when sugar was rationed and all that stuff was rationed. And they tell me that I would grab the sugar bowl off the table there, and they would come running at me to try to get it, but before they'd get it, I'd dump it on the floor. I don't remember doing that, but they tell me that they did. So I'll have to take their word for that.
Where did you go to school?
I went 8 years at, we didn't have kindergarten back then, at St. Anthony's and Phillips Parochial School, and then I went 4 years at the Highland High School, and I went one half a year at Platteville at college in 1961.
What did you do at recess?
At recess, we usually went outside. If it was in the wintertime, we had ice skating rink. We we didn't put our ice skates on at recess, but we would play, you know, there was something called pump pull away. Have you ever played that? Where you'd line up and you'd have teams on each side, and then they would call, they would say, pump, pump, pull away. If you don't come now, I'll pull you away. So you'd have to call out one of the guys, and then they'd have to run over, and they'd try to break through you would have your hands together like that, and they'd come running through and try to break through your hands. And if they would break through your hands, then they could take one of you guys out. So, and it went down till there was only 2 left. I forgot about pump, pump, pull away. You guys are asking questions that are jarring me way back in there.
That game sounds a lot like a game today that kids play called a Red Rover.
Red Rover, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, Red Rover, let whoever come over. But pump, pump, pull away was the same thing, but just different words. I don't know what pump, pump, pull away meant.
Did you participate in any extracurricular activities or sports while in school?
Yeah, I played basketball and baseball. I never did the forensic thing, or I wasn't in band either. Just mostly sports.
Do you have any memories of that stuff?
Oh, yeah. I would only like to see this, but I was the top scorer around here in 1961, and that's 52 years ago now.
You
But
can
yeah,
brag about yourself, Tom.
I was, yeah, I know, but
We want to hear that.
I don't like to do that. But yeah, I was halfway good back then, yeah.
Do you have any other memories you would like to share of elementary school or high school?
Well, I have a lot of memories, but other than the sports and that, I probably shouldn't share them with you.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we just, yeah. So yeah, we'll just let it go at the sports. Yeah.
What was your first car?
My first car, so I didn't get my driver's license until I was 19. Because I used to ride with Eldon, Esser, and Don Esser, and them. And I actually got it was 1963 and a half Ford Fastback Blue. They came out with a Fastback in the middle of the year. I bought it in July. And I actually bought the car before I had my driver's license. So, and I remember it was $2,956.10 is what I paid for it.
And how
I know,
did
that's cool that I can remember, because that was the most money that I'd ever spent at that time, so.
and had you saved that money up from like working and stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I used to paint with my dad, and, yeah.
What happened to the car?
I traded it in for a '67 Ford Fairlane, green one, and actually Fid Bosch bought it. Johnny Bosch ran it for a while, and then that's the last I knew of it there, yeah.
How much did a gallon of gas cost?
About 33 cents. I could fill it up for $5 and last all week, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Those were the days, right?
they were, yeah. I mean, yeah.
What kind of
and
businesses do you remember in Highland while growing up?
businesses? Well, let's see. Philback has been down there. There was where Don's Tire is now. It was Philback Implement, and then well, Ritchie Implement had it then too. But that was an implement store there, and then Philback Ford has always been where it is since in the '40s that I can remember. And then right above Philback's that isn't there no more, where the parking lot is, Tommy Anderson had a shoe repair shop there. And then the road goes up, and where the grandma's kitchen was, my Aunt Annie, my mom's sister, lived there. That was her house. And then right above that that's burnt down now, it was the Highland Press. And above that was Bob Dosher had a implement store too. And then where Charlie Rose is now, that was Charlie Rosenkrantz and Louis Zox. They had eggs and poultry business there, and then they ran a a wholesale grocery delivery thing out of there. I used to work for them once in a while too. And then that, where the Fryer was Bosch's insurance, it's Mike Fryer's insurance now. That was Hobica Petrus. He ran a grocery store out of there. Later, well, Petrus, if you look at this, let's see, the bank building there, Petrus is still on there. That was Hobica Petrus. He built all them. But then, let's see, then up above was the, yeah, that was, I think it was Pierce and Cody grocery store there now where Todd had. Then it was the gin mill, but it wasn't the gin mill then. It was actually a neighbor of mine, Bill Turnus, ran it as a tavern. And then where the bank is now was a gamble store that my sister-in-law and brothers, it was Jess Miller. They ran it as a gamble store. And then, let's see, trying to think, above the bank, okay, where, who's in there now? Where Bootleggers is now, that was John Muldowney's. That was a bar there too. And then where the medical center is now, that was a bar. And then, let's see, then it was, they built that on. There was an alleyway in between there where the, where it was Bob's Barber Shop, filled that space in since, that I remember. And then above that was the, well, let's see, there was a bar there then too. Hank Pullen ran it as a bar, but then it was called the White Kitchen. That's where the apartments are now. People live there. And then above there was Carl Offenberg lived above the, Hing owns it now as a warehouse, but that was a drugstore. Actually, Bob Powers ran it then. Had a drugstore and soda fountain, and you get ice cream cones. And this is going up the left-hand side of the hill, going up towards to the north. And then on the top, as I remember, before the post office was there, that was a bar. It was the Legion Bars. There was like 7 bars in town. And then above that, across the street, heading up towards where St. Anthony's used to be, was the locker plant. Orrin Swingle ran it as a locker plant where they'd have freezer there, and they would butcher, and you could rent the freezers out. And then Skip Laufenberg had produce and fertilizer and feed, or where Joe Yerish is now. And where the parking lot is right above Yerish's, there was, when I was in grade school, Merle Abdu was in there then. And that burnt down like in the 50s, the night before they were going to open. It burnt down when there'd been a classmate of mine, Lana Ford, and her dad and mom were Jim Ford, were going to open it. And it burnt down. Then St. Anthony's Church was there, that burnt down.
How'd those burn down?
Hmm?
How'd those burn down?
They don't know, just something broke out. I don't know how the church burnt down. I think electrical that was, but I don't know. It might have been that for the Ford store there too. And then let's see. Cheese factory was down right below where you go into the park. That was Al Hornicky, which would be, let's see, Al Kosharik married Joni first there. That was then her dad and ma ran it as a cheese factory. And there's the houses there, but then Martin Hennessy had P.W. Hennessy where Brewas is now, where the chimney specialist is. And there used to be a train come through there that was a cheese. There was a cheese warehouse there that Pete, he was his dad. Francis operated out of, and then it moved to Cobb. But then let's see. Then we're heading back the other way. It was the milling where Joe Yarish is now. That was Highland Milling. And then most of them were empty, where, as I remember as a kid, where John Brown is, that was empty. And I'm not even sure what the town or the county shop is. Them were all pretty much empty lots when I was a kid. But out behind there, let's see, where are we at here? Back over in here, coming back behind there was Ed Sherrod. I had a whole, he was a junk dealer, had a bunch of old junk dealer, and we could pick lead and sell it to him for a penny pound, you know. So that, we made money too, but a nickel went a lot further then, you know.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much lead to make a pound because it's really heavy. And then, let's see, coming back on that side was all houses till you got well, that's where I went to grade school, the St. Anthony, the parochial school was there. And then right below, heading back down the hill that way, was Mike Hennessy, who was a classmate of mine, which is Rob's, or Drew's, what would he be, a great uncle, great cousin to you? Mike Hennessy would be Mark Hennessy. He was a friend of mine. His dad run a mechanic shop there. He fixed trucks and tractors. And then right below that was Hank Crocker had a city service gas station where Bob Bumpkamp ran later on. And then you crossed the street and there was the Waters Hotel. That burnt down too. The VFW owns that now, where the thing is there, the flag and that. And then right below there was a bar. It was where Bobby Olson owns now. But back then, what I remember was there was a Martha Long set, and then Don Eberly. They were the ones that I remember most there. And then you went right below there was a restaurant that Carl Laufenberg ran, where Dennis Stepanek is now. That was a restaurant. And then below that, there's a parking lot now that the funeral parlor owns. Was a big long shed there that Dave Laufenberg's dad, Earl Laufenberg, ran as a trucking thing, and then they hauled cattle. And later on, George Esser ran the Esser and Kroll bus service out of there. And then right below that, where let's see who's there, where the funeral parlor is now, it was the post office was there when I was a kid, where you go in the first door, and then Leo, or Pickles McGuire, they called him Leo. He was the undertaker. He ran a funeral parlor out of there, plus the post office was there, and then he was a barber. He had a barber shop there. And then below that is Hing's Hardware, but it was, well, they call it Hing now, but it was Anklem and Hing. Rudy Anklem and Leo Hing ran it, and then Pat and Cindy run it now. And then below that was the central office, where you could pick up your phone and just leave a Lamke, who was Eldon's aunt. I knew her real well. You just say, leave a, just get me whoever you wanted to call, and then they just plug you in. You didn't even have to give them a number. Yeah, no. And let's see. Then there was no town. The village thing wasn't there then. Then it was just down to the two houses that are still there. And then Francis McCarthy, which would be your great-grandpa, been your grandma's dad, ran a dairy bar there. And then after that went out, then I think there was a fire on the top, and then they fixed it up. And then, of course, it was a bar. And then below that was the hall, the town hall. They had big old wrought iron steps going up the back way. And below that was, well, they used to play basketball there too when Highland, when the high school burnt in the 40s. And then below that, Philly McGuire, which would be your great-grandpa, Riley. You remember Philly McGuire? You ever hear him talk about him? No? But anyway, he ran a hardware store and a grocery store there too. And then below that, I don't remember any other buildings there might have been, but then down below was, what I remember was Gene Scullion had a filling station there where JT's Gas and Go is now. Yeah. And then across the street was, it wasn't Reds then, it was Pete Feck ran the bar where it's the Red Zone now. And then behind there, and them buildings are gone, where the post office was, or not the post office, where the parking lot is for Philback now. There was a drugstore there, some doctor, but I don't remember who. And Red Niebuhr, who bought the place from Pete Feck, I remember we tore that down, me and Glenn and Roger Niles. We had to have it down by a certain date so we wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. And we tore it all down. And then up the hill there, well, there were Petrus, that's where Petrus lived. But then other than that, then I don't. I know I'm kind of long-winded when it gets that way.
Do you remember?
That's why I never
movie
went to
theater?
forensic, because I used to put them to sleep.
Do you remember the movie theater?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there was a movie theater there too. I missed that one. That's where the Legion Bar burnt out, and then they turned that into the post office. And then there was the Highland, H-I, no G-H, just H-I-L-A-N-D. Yeah, I used to go there. Yeah, I used to go to the show where Don's got the tires there now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Used to cost, what was it? Nickel to get in. Nickel to go to the show.
Did you have a favorite place to visit on Main Street?
Probably the Powers store. That's where Hing has the warehouse now, right below the post office. Probably there.
The soda fountain?
Mm-hmm. They had soda fountain and ice cream, and they had pinball games there too we used to play. Mm-hmm.
Where did people shop?
At the gamble store and the grocery store. See, Jack Pierrick owned it when I was in high school. I think there was Jack's dad and Doc Cody's dad ran it too. But what I remember most was Jack Pierrick and Gil worked for him. But that's about it. The gamble store, well, Philly McGuire hardware store too.
Do you have any memories of local events or celebrations while growing up?
No, just the Alice in Dairyland one, I told you that one. And, well, mostly, Highland used to have a fair then. They'd have a fair parade and the homecoming parade, but the fair, there was, it's almost like the Iowa County Fair. They'd have judging of pies and fruits and rabbits, and they'd bring in the animals to judge.
Do you have any memories of world events while you were growing up? Landing on the moon, Kennedy assassination, Vietnam War?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember the Kennedy assassination. It was the day before deer season, November 22nd, 1963. I was driving in my car right below where Bob Washer lives now. I think everybody remembers what was going on, or what you were doing in there. Yeah, and that was a very sad deal. what was the other one? The Kennedy assassination, and what was the other part?
The moon landing.
Oh, the moon landing, yeah,
Vietnam War.
yeah. I do remember that. That, I think was in '69. Yeah. There was, and what was the other one? Moon landing, Kennedy.
Vietnam War,
Vietnam War, yeah, okay.
or just anything like that.
I do remember the Vietnam War, because I was drafted into, let's see, February of 1965. I was drafted into the Army. And that's when the Vietnam War was just getting stepped up and getting really serious over there. And I was going to go in, but then my records were goofed up over in Dodgeville, so then they sent me back, and I would have been into the next month's draft then, so I joined the Guard. So I didn't go in, never had to go over there or not, but they had one shot at me, and so I often think maybe had I gone in then, maybe I'd be dead by now. I don't know, you don't know, something happened and.
Thank goodness for messed up records, huh?
Yeah, that was good of them. So sometimes mistakes help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what were the biggest moments in Highland's history?
In Highland's history? When Drew Hennessy got his first buck down at the farm. No, I don't know God, I don't, that's a tough one there, Drew. I really don't have an answer for the biggest events. And
What year did you graduate?
1961, 52 years ago, 51 years ago, it'll be 52. Yep, Zeke will have, when Levi graduates, he'll be a 50-year grad, and Levi will be graduating from school.
That's really cool.
See, when Levi was born, he was just leaving with Levi when Lisa and I were coming in with Mitchell. He was preemie, so.
Really?
Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get married?
Did I get married? Yes, I did. I married Lisa Winketh in November 2nd, 1985. I was 42 and she was 22. There's a 20-year gap between us. I skipped a generation. So, yeah, and we have 3 kids. We have Derek, who's going to be 26, Kinsey, who is 21, and Mitchell, who is a senior, who is 17. Smartest thing I ever did, okay, in case Lisa's watching.
So how did you guys meet, Tom?
Actually, I was best friends with her dad and mom and the whole works, and then this is always a joke that I always tell, that she'll know what it is if she ever sees this, but she said, did they have any, qualms about me being, like 20 years older and that? And I said, actually, no. I said, they actually like me better than they liked her. We were friends, forever, yeah.
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 How many kids do you have?
I have three. We have Derek, Kinsey, and Mitchell.
Where did you live after you were married?
We lived in the house right next to the VFW building. We lived there for, let's see, from 1985 to, what was it, July of 86, and then we moved into the schoolhouse, which is above the old school. They used to own a house because of the superintendents. When they would get them, they would offer them free rent and that. But then a lot of them didn't want it, so then we rented it. We lived there then from, I think, July of 86 to about July or August of 87 when we bought a house down on Diagonal Street. Then we lived there till 1993, and we moved up to and bought my dad and mom's house where we live now.
How has Highland changed since you were a young man?
Oh, the new church, new roads, no more telephone lines above the road, and a lot of different houses. Let's see, the high school, you know, where I graduated from is, you know, it's not a, it's the historical center now, or, you know, so a lot of more modern stuff now than back then.
What do you think brought about these changes in Highland?
What I think brought about the changes, just modernization and more technical stuff now than what it used to be. Not a real good answer, but that's the best I can do.
What hobbies do you have now?
What hobbies do I have? Oh, I ginseng hunts, I turtle hunts. I don't deer hunt much anymore, I still do go, but and I fish just a little, but not very much. So mostly ginseng hunting and turtle hunting is what I do.
What was your job when you were younger?
I was a painter for a long time, and then when my brother retired, well, let's see, when Bob Benish died, he was rural mail carrier relief, and he died, and then I took over that, for my brother Jack, and I did that for 12 years, and then he retired, and then I became the rural carrier out of Highland until I retired in 2006.
Do you have any favorite sports?
Sports? Yeah, basketball was probably the best. I like baseball and softball too. We played fast pitch softball when I got out of school.
Did you play football?
Nope, I didn't play.
Why not?
I don't really know. Just never liked it, I guess. I don't know. They told me I would have been good at it, but I have to take their word for that too.
Are there any other stories that you would like to share with us about your life in Highland?
I probably summed up most of everything that I had. Yeah.
What was your favorite Christmas gift?
Christmas gifts? Oh. When I was a kid, you mean? Or, yeah, I remember cap guns and that. You guys probably don't know what cap guns are or anything. You used to, or do you? Yeah. But see, back then, or do they maybe still have them? They used to have little rolls that you'd put in and
Makes
yeah.
it pop.
Yeah, then they just, now they got the little things you can put over the thing, little round discs, and yeah.
You guys have any?
Anything else you would like to share with us?
No, I think that's about.
Did you like living in the city?
Did I what?
Like living in the city?
living in the city?
Mhm.
No. I don't like the city. I like the country life. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
No.
Alright.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, yeah.
Did you guys do the pictures
Yeah.
already?